opportunity to welcome everybody and wish you a good morning. I'm Mark Masters, and really proud to serve as the Gacd president from just to y'all's west over in Group 3. Live over in Terrell County, and we're really happy to see a nice group of folks on this morning. This is our fourth in the series of group meetings, and certainly I would rather be sitting around a table looking at everybody, and would have had the opportunity to meet some folks that I haven't yet. But appreciate your commitment to your local district and to conservation in Georgia for being on this morning. So we're going to take a few minutes and recognize some guests and some other folks on the line with us this morning. But I see Jake, looks like he's out and about, busy on a Monday morning, but I want to turn it back to Jake Ford, who is on board and does a really good job as GCD secretary, and I want to turn it back to him for a welcome and invocation. Morning, Jake.
Good morning, Mark. Can you hear me? All right. Welcome, everybody. Let us pray. Father, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you for all of our many blessings that you have given us. We thank you for this organization that we are a part of. We ask you to continue to bless it, bless our efforts as we try to be good stewards of what you have given us so richly. Watch over us during this meeting. Let us make good decisions. Be with those that are hurting right now for whatever reason, those that have lost loved ones. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Jake. Appreciate you being on. So just want to take a few minutes here and recognize some special guests and folks that serve on leadership at the GACD level from Group 4. So we just heard from Jake Ford, our GACD secretary. I also see our GACD vice president, Tabatha Wooten there. So Tabatha, thank you for being on. Got Mr. Jerry, of course, who did an awful lot of work to get this meeting put together. And Mr. Jerry, appreciate you and all you do for Group 4. And then I see Danny Hogan up there. He's at the top of my screen anyway. Long time leader at GACD and currently our NACD board member from Georgia. So Danny, appreciate you and all you do. So we've also got a number of partners with us on the Zoom this morning. I see a lot of folks from NRCS, and Terrence Rudolph, our state conservationist, was not able to join us this morning, but we've got Tansel Hudson on, and we're going to hear from him in just a few minutes. And certainly appreciate NRCS and their great partnership with GACD and all the various districts across the state. I also see Mitch, Attaway, and Robert, I know, is on. We'll hear from them in a little bit, from the Soil and Water Conservation Commission. And very much like NRCS, we greatly value the partnership with the commission and have had a lot of great successes over the last few months, and a lot of good stuff, frankly, to come that I'm looking forward to. So I appreciate them being on as well. I'm scanning the names. Katie, do we have the commissioner on as of yet?
I do not see him on.
Yeah, we're expecting Commissioner Black from the Department of Agriculture to be on and share a few words with us as well. And we'll hear from Senator Tyler Harper a little bit later on in the agenda as well. So at this time, we'll go ahead and turn to our partner updates and hear from some of the folks we work with across the state. So I see Tansel has come off of mute and got his video on. He's looking good on a Monday morning. So Tansel, welcome. Appreciate you being here, and look forward to you sharing with us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mark. Good to see everyone. I'll just jump right in with a few comments from NRCS. As Terrence usually leads with COVID, it's all over the board. We are getting new directives and guidance, and it changes almost daily. So I won't go into the weeds on that, but it's affecting all of us for sure. And we'll just continue to do the best we can on what we're allowed to do. field offices, just a little bit on staffing. We are continually trying to reach hiring milestones. It has become difficult just on the number of people that we're trying to bring on. And oftentimes it's hard to find qualified individuals to fill those positions that we are advertising. But we'll continue down that road and see if we can hit those targets. Just a little bit on other programs and initiatives and departments. The technical services team continually is reaching and trying to get all of our staff planner certification. There's a deadline at the end of this calendar year to have that done. So we're trying to get as many of our employees certified as possible. The natural resources inventory, Dan Wallace is working on that and has made great progress in North Georgia, and I believe he's working on the points in South Georgia. For the agreement side, we did quite a few agreements this year, like most years. Thankfully, all of them have been signed and fully executed. So that is good news. We're not taking it down to the wire this year. Want to thank everyone that had a hand in getting those drafted and all the back and forth and edits made and getting those signatures and getting those monies tied up moving forward. So we'll probably plan to do another notice of funding opportunity early in the next calendar year. The templates that we use have not been updated for FY22. So we're in the information gathering stage of what technical services and deliverables our partners may be able to offer to help us. So if you have any ideas or any plans or things that you would like to see GACD, the district's commission, or others where you think you can help us out, please start thinking about that and getting those to paper. And we can talk about those even before next year if the opportunity presents. Finally, just a little bit on the Farm Bill. Had a really good year on the Farm Bill. We received a lot of money through EQIP, and our field officers have done an excellent job of ranking and getting those dollars obligated. So kudos to all of the field staff for getting those funds done. We did have some climate change initiative funds this year. As far as I know, those have been obligated as well. We're in the process of sending out a lot of letters this time of year to program participants as it relates to CSP and other programs, but I think those are going out and on schedule as well. So next year on the Farm Bill, we'll start with signups and rankings and start all over again soon. I think we're going to probably split up some of the programs like we did this year. That seemed to be a benefit. So other than that, I really don't have any large updates. I want to thank everyone for listening and participating. And thanks so much. I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mark.
Well, Tansel, I appreciate it. Thanks for the update. And I know we've got a lot of your team folks on this morning as well around the state, and appreciate that very much. So we'll just offer you a reminder, as Katie mentioned, as we were just getting started. If you do think of something later, you got a comment or question for any of the speakers, just drop that in the chat. I know Tansel and his team will be kind of hanging around, and we can circle back to those questions if you have them. So put them in the chat. We'll make sure they get addressed. So appreciate you being on this morning.
Yes, sir.
So next up, we've got Candice Abinati. She is our Southeast rep from the National Association of Conservation Districts, and it does a great deal, not just in Georgia, but around the Southeast, and is a really good information source for us here in Georgia about all the things that are going on at a national level. And she does a fantastic job at getting our messages up the chain. So Candice, thank you for being on this morning, and welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Thanks for the nice introduction, and good morning, everyone. Good morning, Group 4. As Mark said, I'm Candice Abinati. I'm NACD Southeast Region Representative, and I serve the 11 states and territories of the Southeast, including Georgia. And I just want to thank GACD for your support of NACD and also this opportunity to be a part of the Group 4 meeting today. I have a few acknowledgements and announcements to share this morning. Starting off with just kind of, a celebration. We at NACD are celebrating our 75th anniversary this year. We had a great summer meeting in Chicago. And if you bear with me for a second, I'm just going to do a little screen share here because I have a nice photo. We were able to gather all of our, many of our past presidents of NACD, including Mr. John Redding from Georgia, who was NACD's president in 2008 and 2009. And so I just wanted to give kind of a special shout out to thank him for his continued engagement in NACD and current leadership as treasurer on NACD's sister organization, the National Conservation Foundation. So a big thank you to John there. And then another thank you to Georgia's Congressman Bishop. We were delighted last week. Congressman Bishop, along with a number of others, was part of a group that introduced a bicameral and bipartisan resolution last week to commemorate NACD's 75th anniversary and honor locally led collaborative conservation efforts. So if you subscribe to some of our conservation clips, you may have seen that post in one of our emails last week. And yeah, we were pretty excited. So a big thank you to Congressman Bishop for his help with that too. As most of you all know, NACD serves as a unified national voice for the nation's nearly 3,000 conservation districts. And we work a lot to secure adequate federal funding for natural resources on Capitol Hill. And we have a member-driven board of directors, over 100 of them. And these folks select conservation policy priorities that are then used to develop and review environmental and natural resources legislation. So also, as part of my acknowledgements, I just wanted to thank and let you all know how very grateful we are for Georgia's board members. So Danny Hogan and alternate board member Mark Masters for all of their service and engagement in NACD. So Danny and Mark, thank you both very much for all that you do for us. And in addition to our advocacy work at NACD, we communicate a lot. So I would encourage you, if you aren't receiving our communications, please check us out on the web. We have a weekly newsletter that we send out, a quarterly publication, and then we also from time to time do special reports, lots of updates to our blog posts, and of course you can follow us on social media too. So please come and see us, and it's a great way to get information about what conservation districts are up to across the country, as well as our activities. We also help to develop conservation leaders. And so I did want to share that this is the last week to apply for the Next Generation Leadership Institute, which you may have heard about from Mark. He's been involved in that as a member of the very first cohort. And what that is the NGLI program. It's a year-long professional leadership development training. Thanks, Mark, for posting that link in the chat for district officials. And so it's comprised of a variety of meetings that tend to meet during NACD's meetings or annual meeting, summer meeting, and then various virtual meetings throughout the year that explore different professional development topics related to conservation and leadership. And so we have a cohort that's the 2022 cohort is what we're currently recruiting for. And we're hoping to select 7 participants. So 1 from each region, so it will be competitive. And if you are a district official and you're interested in applying, the deadline is this Friday, September 24th. But I would encourage you to, if you're interested, to take a look at the link that Mark provided in the chat. Another thing that NACD does is we provide direct services to conservation districts. And I will spend a little bit of time later collaborating with Katie to get you some more information about our grant programs. But I did want to flag that we have 2 that will be opening up in the fall. So one is our Friends of NACD District Grants Program. And I kind of refer to this as a micro grant program. Grants are available for up to $2,500. for districts to pursue different activities that will help to support their operations. And we certainly encourage creativity and innovation there. And then we also have an urban agriculture conservation grant initiative, and we'll be launching the open application period for both of those in the fall. So please stay tuned for information about that if you're interested in those programs. And if you want more details, feel free to reach out to me. The third grant program that NACD administers is the technical assistance grants made possible through a arrangement with NRCS. And those technical assistance grants rounds typically open up in the spring. So that's another thing to be on the lookout for if that's of interest to you. I wanted to also share with you that we are gearing up really soon. It's been a couple of years in the making based on just feedback and information that we've received from conservation districts. We realize that there is a need in some spots for insurance. And so in our fiscal year 22, which is going to be starting in October, we're gearing up to offer access to health insurance as a benefit to district officials and employees whose districts contribute dues at that 775 level or above. So we are gearing up to launch more information about that and make that announcement on Monday, October 4th. And so you'll be starting to see more details about that program in October. Including, I believe there will be some information in the very first dues letter that gets sent out in October. So we're excited about it. It's a program that provides a comprehensive range of various benefits. So it's medical, it's dental, it's vision, as well as auto, home, and cyber coverage. And we are starting to have conversations too about liability. We know liability insurance has also been a topic of conversation for districts across the country. So we are looking into that as well, but not rolling that out at this time. We're trying to explore some options and better understand that before rolling a program like that out. But it's neat. You'll be able to shop and kind of customize benefits and receive multiple quotes for coverage using this online platform that we are partnering with the business for. I also wanted to share, I was in South Carolina last week, and they were talking a lot about being able to tell our story. And we're excited. We are launching our first skills-based training. Starting September 30th, we are going to have a 2-part skills development webinar series. And it's all about how to create videos and how to communicate effectively by creating video content. And so it's using things that you may already have, like a mobile phone or a webcam or a camcorder. And the very first session of that is going to be Thursday, September 30th. And then there's going to be a follow-up session on Thursday, October 28th. And so that's all free and you can sign up. I will post the web link a little bit later so you can register if you're interested in that. And please help us share that and pass the word along. And then I will also share with you as I wrap up here. Bear with me. I'm going to share with you just a few upcoming dates or events. Just so you're all aware, we have some upcoming events here. November is the Southeast Conservation District Employees Association Annual Conference in Pigeon Forge. We will also be having in February our NACD annual meeting in Orlando, Florida. So I hope many of you can join us. We did launch registration just a couple of weeks ago. So that is something that you can register for now. In April of 2022, we'll be celebrating our 67th annual Stewardship Week, and the theme is Healthy Soil, Healthy Life. And educational materials for that should be posted this week. I'm continuing to monitor for that. We've been upgrading all of those materials and updating them, so they should be available real soon for folks. And then we're also excited in the summer of 2022, we are headed to San Juan, Puerto Rico. Again, hope some of you can join us for NACD's summer meeting and our Southeast region meeting. And then there is my contact information there. I just wanted to thank all of Georgia's districts. More than half of you have paid dues to NACD. So a big thank you for all of you and everything that you do and your support for us. And please don't hesitate to be in touch. Again, here's my contact information. Feel free to reach out by phone or email if I can help connect you to NACD's resources. So thank you all. And Mark, that's it for me. I'll hand it back over to you.
Great, Candice, thanks. Yeah, really fantastic update. Appreciate all the information and being such a good ambassador to the Southeast region from NACD and all the support. So I will say on the dues side of things, we were a little over half. We actually had a few more pay as recently as last week, as I understand it. So that was really good. And we're wrapping up the dues year and just 10 days, I guess. So if you're interested in going ahead and getting your dues in to take advantage of some of those opportunities and perks, I guess, including the insurance that Candice talked about, we've got a few more days left, and we would love to get that percentage of Georgia districts, as high as we could. So, there's a lot that comes back to the state in the form of those technical assistance grants and urban grants and things that we've been able to take advantage of. So, really important to be engaged at a national level. So, Candice, appreciate that and for being on this morning. I saw that Commissioner Black had joined us a couple of minutes ago. I see his name there. Commissioner, appreciate you making time for GACD this morning, and would want to circle back and give you a chance to speak to the group and tell us what's going on there at the commission.
Good morning, Mark, and forgive me, I think I can speak legally. I probably can't look on the Zoom legally while driving, so if it's okay, I'll just, if I'm coming through, I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everyone's healthy. Continue to, I guess it's good that we continue to have these kinds of convenience meetings, but I know, I hope have a chance to see a lot of you face to face this fall in and around our activities. But thanks for letting me share just a little bit this morning. I just had a couple of three things, Mark. We're in the final stages too of headed toward what we hope is a great return to the Georgia National Fair, and hope everyone will mark your calendars here in early October. We're excited about the prospects of everyone being back out. Our Georgia Grown building is going to be a little different this year, where we are open. We're going to, be as wide open as possible. We're probably going to have a little less contact from a standpoint. A lot of our displays are going to be more static. We've kind of got to prepare to make sure that, if we do run into anyone falling ill during the period of time, that we have a limited number of people. So we're a little skeleton operation, but the baby barn's still going to be open, and hope y'all will come come participate in what I still think is one of the best investments ever made taxpayers of Georgia. But I want us to also look long term, Mark, for the districts. I do believe once we really get back to full scale opportunities at the fair for the long term, we'd sure love to have the districts involved in the Georgia Grown building maybe a little more. We could think about how to do that from a long term, long range planning standpoint. But there's such good outreach, and there are 11 days of reaching 500,000 to 600,000 people. So to kind of keep that on everybody's agenda. We've reported several of your other districts. This is not particularly a conservation issue, but it's still one of the more frequently discussed things in my office. COVID taught us, we already knew, but COVID accentuated a need in the state of Georgia for more protein processing, and we're still seeing that really venture. We've got a number of groups that are looking at building additional red meat processing. We responded this year by taking some of the leftover Hurricane Michael money from the state level and shifting it its purpose through the Georgia Development Authority for value-added processing loans through GDA. And those that loan program is open. I hope that you would maybe communicate with the districts in the area to any producers that would be interested in going together, or as an individual. We have some loans that are capped out at $2 million to raise prime rate and other very lending guidelines that for the Georgia Development really good interest in that, and I think we're really gonna help people, maybe get over get out of the starting blocks to see what happens the next couple of years in building this capacity. The Georgia Grown program is still stronger than ever. Our new Georgia Grown magazine is about to be out, and it's our 10th anniversary of the magazine. And y'all know how these publications are. I doubt any of us have ever seen a regular publication that we would not say, well, I just think this is the best one we've ever done. We've tried to do that every year, but our team is really convinced this 10th anniversary edition of the Georgia Grown message and is just really excited. I think y'all are going to be very pleased with it. And so we will be, once we get one magazine out, we start working on the next. So I know there's some great stories from the districts that we love to get some cooperators, covered in that magazine in years to come too. So that would be watching out for that in October. We're pressing on. We do have one animal health issue that we're gonna. There's a foreign insect that we have discovered in the last week and a half. We had one incident a couple of years ago. Some cattle were transported in. We located the source of it. It was at a livestock sale barn in northeast Georgia. There's a horned tick that is a very very aggressive little critter, and we were able to act swiftly a couple of years ago and avoid the spread and get those animals taken care of. We've had another outbreak in northwest Georgia on one producer's farm. We've not about this yet because it's not one of those things that drive a lot of concern yet, except that I guess my reason of mentioning it today is just to be aware if we have additional concerns, we'll be certainly be talking about it over time. But these are the kinds of issues that I'm sure most of y'all know, that our animal health or plant health people, that we're involved in a lot of things and get a lot of things done long before it gets to be a problem. And I'm real proud of our animal health team. Dr. Jenna Marie Hannibal. Dr. Hannibal is our new state veterinarian. Many of you know that Dr. Cobb retired back in the middle of the summer. Dr. Hannibal and her team are really, really doing well. And we've got that issue under control right now, but it is one of those things that we're going to be monitoring very closely. Dustin Weaver is one of our news, and Marcus Webster. They're two of our other veterinarians that have been moved into what we call, I guess, an associate state veterinarian role. Dr. Webster will be handling a lot of administrative things in Atlanta and coming alongside Dr. Hannibal. But Dr. Weaver is extraordinarily good communicator and a real, he's a cattle producer, is just an excellent animal health professional. And we've kind of created a new position for him that Dr. Weaver might be someone for everyone to be aware of. If your meetings, if there's something that would be related. I know so many of you have cattle producers that are involved in what happens at the district level. Dr. Weaver would be an excellent resource. So it's kind of like an extra extension specialist. So we're gonna have Dr. Weaver in more of an outreach role, working on animal health issues, animal ID, those kinds of things. So I just wanted to mention that, Mark, that Dr. Weaver will be a resource to the districts. If there's a time and place for that. He's an excellent person to have on the road and come representing the department, but being of service to your producers in your various districts. So I just wrap up there, Mark, and thank everybody for your time. Thanks for your commitment to the ongoing cause. Our work's never done, that's for sure. But I'm sure. Thank you for letting me be a part of the team, and we look forward to more good things to come for sure. If anybody's got a question, Mark, I'd love to try to tackle it.
Yeah, well, Commissioner, thank you. I appreciate you making time for us, and I know you're on the road and always busy. And the updates you brought were helpful, and just on behalf of GACD, very much appreciate the partnership. And you've given us a lot to kind of think about and chew on, and really what I think are some great opportunities, whether it's down at the fairgrounds or related to some of the other Georgia grown stuff. And we'll certainly keep that communication line open. And I know you've got a fantastic team there at the department, but as you see opportunities for GACD to help the ag department get the word out or whatever on various things, we're certainly stand ready to help.
Well, dude, Mark, let me just 20 more seconds. I want to thank the districts again for taking the challenge 4 or 5 years ago. I know Woody and Roger Bowman and others. There's so many that, and of course, Terrence at NRCS. And we kind of jumped in this wild hog thing together several years ago, and y'all just really need to take I don't suppose we could take a victory lap, because that work's never done either, but y'all should take great satisfaction in taking a challenge, looking at a need, providing very relevant services to the producers in your area. And I just want to thank you for what you've done there. Every time we exterminate one of these critters, and I say that unapologetically, because I don't think we ought to be talking about control. I'm a little more aggressive. I think we ought to be talking about eradication, but and being as aggressive as possible, because it's still I don't think there's any other greater threat to soil and water conservation than a doggone wild hog. And so everything we can do at the district level and continue to leverage those federal resources from Terrence, I think that's a very good thing. It's an all of the above approach. Every one of these traps that y'all deployed, that's not going to solve the entire problem, but it's a part of the puzzle. I sure hope we're going to be able to get some feeders and some control mechanisms that won't hurt other animals, and maybe we can get on top of these things a little better than we are. But the progress that's been made in Georgia, the districts can really fly their banner high and very, very proudly. And I appreciate your work on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate that. Yeah, for sure. Plenty left to do. Commissioner, thank you for being on. And
Y'all have a great day. Thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. We've also got Mitch Attaway and Robert Amos from the Soil and Water Commission, and they've got a few things to share with us this morning. So Mitch, thank you for being on, and turn it over to you.
Well, good morning, Mark, and everyone else. Thanks for letting us join you. Kind of echo your earlier sentiments, Mark. Wish we could have this meeting and have a cup of coffee and some lunch together, but understand circumstances aren't really going to allow us to do that yet. But I thank Mark and JCD staff and Jerry for putting this option together so we can still get around each other and update each other on what we've got going on. For the commission, I've got a couple of updates. The first two, I hope by now, supervisors, you have heard and are making some plans to utilize this. But in the June commission meeting, the commission board voted and approved to increase district allotment by 10%. Again, you should be well aware of that now. Just want to throw that out as a reminder. And another thing that happened at that meeting for supervisors was an increase in per diem from $40 to $45. Board chose to do that as a recognition to show support to what supervisors do there at the local level. Other big announcements for the commission. We are in the process of hiring new staff, and not only new staff, but by a total of 5 new positions for the commission. That's pretty exciting stuff for us in the office, being able to add these people. One position is a watershed tech that it's housed in Athens, mainly work in the Northeast and Northwest Georgia area on our watershed dams up there. Occasionally you might see that position in your area if the need arises. The other position that we're fixing to post, get ready to hire in the Southwest area, will be focusing on a 319 cover crop grant that we really have some big interest down there and need some support to help us pull that off. So we're excited to add that. And then the other 3 come from agreement that I'm sure you've heard Robert or myself talk about, and I've hopefully seen a couple emails go out. 3 positions there that we're fortunate enough and thankful for our partners in NRCS to provide funding for conservation managers. These will be working under Robert in 3 different areas: Northeast, Northwest, and the South. Our Northeast and Northwest people were able to start first of this month. Josh Jackwood is working out of the Calhoun office and serving districts in that area. Jennifer Stanbridge in our Athens office and serving districts in the Northeast area. And then last week we were able to bring on board what will be a familiar face for people in Group 4. Michelle Boone made the transition from GACD over to the commission. We're excited to have her on board and her be able to continue her work that she already has in place with districts in this area. Want to kind of also echo the Commissioner Black's comments about the work that we do is important. And I can tell you, I realized that during COVID, we had to change, and I know districts had to change how they met and handled some business as well, but it didn't slow down. And a lot of it actually increased for us during this time. And to me, that just shows the work that we do, how important it is. This conservation, anything that it touches is important. It's not going to slow down. We just need to find ways to move forward and take care of it. With that, I want to say two more thank yous before I turn it over to Robert. Robert's got some great information for us, but Commissioner Black and Chairman Harper, I believe, have been on all of these group meetings with this team, and I want to appreciate their efforts and tell them thank you for not only participating in this, but what the work that they do and how that goes back to the commission and the districts. Appreciate both those gentlemen for participating with us. Robert, I'm going to turn it over to Robert now. We did a joint training with the Attorney General's office back in July, kind of highlighting the roles of districts and state code, open meetings, open records stuff. So Robert's going to hit the high points of that. And with that, Robert, I will turn it over to you.
Appreciate that. Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen. All right. Yeah, like Mitch had mentioned, we did a training with the Attorney General's office. If you have not had an opportunity to view the presentation that was given, or if you were not able to attend when we hosted the event, I really would encourage you to look at the presentation. It's really worth the couple of hours, hour and a half, I believe is what it was, to look at it. It's got some good information in there. Some of the stuff we all really know, but a lot of times we don't think about it as often. This is the training agenda that the Attorney General's office went through. I'm certainly not going to cover all of these topics, but these are the topics that the Attorney General's office went into pretty good detail on. So whether y'all, I know at some point y'all have all been told this, it's just a reminder, y'all are state officials, districts are agencies of the state. As such, whenever we need legal representation, a legal opinion, anything law related, we can petition the Attorney General's office to give us an official legal response. It also covers us if there's any legal liability that has been incurred. But these are the code sections that show that as our official duties, we are covered, we have to be covered by the lawyers at the Attorney General's office. A couple of things I want to hit the high points on. Because we are state organizations, we're state officials, we have to comply with the Open Records Act. We do get some of these from time to time, not a big deal when we do get them. The thing to remember is that open records, if we receive a proper open records request, we must respond to it within 3 business days. So if we get one on Friday, we don't have to spend the weekend answering an open records request. The most important thing is, though, we have to respond. If a district or a supervisor gets a open records request, I highly encourage you to reach out to us. I've got about a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch file of open records requests we've gotten over the years. I've got a pretty standard response that I can provide to you. And so key thing to remember, we get an open records request, we cannot just ignore it. There are things that we can, we don't have to respond. We don't have to provide when we are open records. But again, I'll go back. Most important thing is we've got to respond. The other thing I wanted to touch on is, again, state officials, state entities, we have to comply with the Open Meetings Act. And all that basically means is anybody that wants to attend a district function gets to attend a district function. We can limit how much they speak, but we have to let them attend in the effort to be open and transparent. So in addition, they went over a good bit of district powers and where you get those district powers from, what you can, what you cannot do. And of course, I'm not going to go through all these again, but it is good to go back to that code section every now and then, just to see, you know, every year we ask for a annual plan of work. Well, the reason is because it's in code. So these are, again, supervisor roles, and I encourage you to go through these. I also encourage you to go through these with your new conservation area manager, which for y'all is Michelle. So I think she's excited to be on. I think only about half as excited as I am to have her on board. And she'll be able to help you again with some of these other things that we went over in the training, such as obtaining funding. So one of the other things that the Attorney General's office touched on in the July training was that they notified us that because the governor's emergency order had ended, they said that districts, being part of the state, now had to meet in person. As you can imagine, with all the COVID stuff still going on, this was concerning to a lot of the districts. And so what Mitch was able to do was go back to the Attorney General's office, express that concern and ask if there was any kind of relief that districts could have who were concerned about having to meet in person. If you haven't seen this memo, please let me know. The short of it is the Attorney General's office came back and said, look, if districts are concerned about meeting in person, all they need to do is make a motion due to the pandemic that they will go back to meeting virtually if they so choose. So thanks to Mitch working with the Attorney General's office, districts now have that option. You are certainly able to meet in person if you would like to, but if your district board is concerned about meeting in person, all you need to do is make a motion to the effect that you are going to meet virtually due to the pandemic for the foreseeable future. So ran through that pretty quick, but if y'all have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them now or at the end. And I'm going to turn it back over to Mark.
Thank you, Robert and Mitch. Appreciate the follow-up on all the training, and I know there's been a lot of chatter and discussion about stuff over the last couple of months, and appreciate you helping clear some of that up. Again, I'll just remind folks, if you do have a comment or question that you'd like any of our speakers to address, that chat box is open. We'll make sure it gets forwarded on to the appropriate person. So really appreciate the commission folks being on and for your partnership, and look forward to a lot of good stuff in the near future. So we're going to move down the agenda now, and really fortunate to have Senator Tyler Harper with us. As I think Mitch had mentioned, the senator's been with us for our other group meetings to give us kind of a thumbnail sketch of some of the stuff going on in the natural resources part of the universe, and glad that he could make a little more time for group 4 this morning, give us a little more in-depth report of what's going on with his committee and other things around the state. So Senator, thank you for being with us, and go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mark. We're good. Can you hear me? All right. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I pushed all the right buttons. Good morning. It is definitely good to be with you. It's good to be with all of y'all this morning. And thank you for what y'all are doing, Mark. Thank you for what the Gacd does across the state, and then also what each of y'all do in the individual districts around the state. We appreciate the work you do on a day-to-day basis. It's allows us to keep our state going forward, and appreciate the partnerships that we have, not only with the Department of Agriculture and Commissioner Black, but also with the USDA, and then with Mitch and his team over there at the Soil and Water Conservation Commission. Appreciate the work that they're doing on a day-to-day basis, and it's through those partnerships that I think we're able to work together in the legislature to move forward some the right legislation, and making sure that we're putting things in the right place, but at the same time stopping things that may not be the best for our state as well. And I think a lot of times we have conversations about what we pass and what the governor signs, and overlook a lot of the things that sometimes doesn't get across the finish line, and that may just end up staying in committees, because a lot of times those could be as detrimental or more detrimental than the positive things that we're able to move forward. But I just want to start out by, like I said, by just telling everybody thank you for what you do. It's been a pleasure to serve as the Natural Resources Committee Chairman in the Senate. Obviously, I'm on the Ag Committee too, and involved in a lot of the other committees in the Senate, and through that we have had a working relationship and a partnership, and I appreciate that more than you know, and the work that we do together, and I think a lot of that is evident in things that we have done over the last 10 or 15 years, especially with what we're working toward, especially in the water wars and the wins that we have had there. I think it's important that that we definitely celebrate, but we've also got to continue to have a cautious approach on this. And I know former Chairman Tom McCall, now President Tom McCall, had done a lot of work on that, and I just want to tell all of you and each of you in your individual districts, thank you for your work as well, because the partnerships that we've had and a lot of the things that we have done and a lot of decisions that were made in some cases might not have been very popular, but I think at the end of the day we were able to lock arms and work together and address this in a way that allowed us to get across the finish line. And I think whether that was through the conservation districts throughout the state or some things that we've done legislatively, but all of that worked together, and we were all able to work together. And I think that's just a perfect example of when we're able to work together, we can address an issue and help move our state in the right direction. And we just had another recent win in the Metro lawsuit, in the Metro Atlanta lawsuit, where the judge threw that one out, which I think was a big deal. And I'm sure y'all probably already discussed some of this, so I'm not going to dwell on it too long, but I just wanted to use that as an example of how I think we work together in advancing the right policies can continue to allow our state to move in the right direction, ensure that we have access to reliable water usage, and also protect our environment and conserve our natural resources all at the same time. Because at the end of the day, I think that's what it's about, is ensuring that we're utilizing, number one, and we understand that we have working lands of working forest and working resources, but at the same time finding ways to continue to protect those resources in a conservation mindset, and we can definitely do that, and I think we just got to kind of take a slow walk on the water deal going forward, and I think we can get move that in the right direction and be able to hopefully address some of the things that we have done over the last few years in a very methodical way, and allow us to continue to move forward. That said, in regards to this past legislative session and what we're doing, and just to answer a question I was asked, Russ Goodman didn't write my speech this morning, Jim. I'm sure he'd be very pleased in knowing that somebody thought that somebody else might have wrote my speech instead of what I'm saying. But anyway, a couple of things we done this past session in the natural resources in the ag space, just kind of hit on real quick. Many of you are probably aware of the qualified timberland properties provision that we added into the law. We went in and kind of made some adjustments to that in regards to contiguous properties. There was kind of a question as to whether or not contiguous properties that were owned by the same landowner would be allowed to be put together. I think we went in and were able to clarify that in regards to the qualified timberland property provision that addresses ad valorem taxation in regards to timber property and how all of that's taxed. We also passed a bill this past session dealing with burn permit exceptions. And basically what this does is it allows individuals to burn yard debris and things of that nature, or hand piled vegetation is one of the best ways to put it, in your backyard or in your area without calling the forestry commission. So under the this is current law now. So under the old law, Georgia law required you to notify the Forestry Commission if you were going to burn. There was nothing that said the Forestry Commission could tell you that you couldn't burn under the law. It just required you as an individual to notify the commission that you were going to burn. So this is separate from a burn permit that you would normally get. That burn permit language is a completely separate code section. So basically, this is something that in an effort will save the Forestry Commissioner about $200,000 a year. It set up statutorily set up a process which allows you to burn hand-piled vegetation in your yard without informing the Forestry Commission, as long as you abide by the statutoral confines that's laid out in the law, which were produced and worked in consultation with the Forestry Commission and the state forester. But again, there's nothing that requires you. You can still call the Forestry Commission if you so desire, but at the same time, it does not it does not prevent you from abiding by any EPD regs or local regulations that also would regulate that as well. Another bill that we passed this past session that I think is really neat, especially in the timber space, and we've been working on a lot of things in regards to forestry over the last few years, is we established the Sustainable Building Materials Carbon Sequestration Technical Advisory Committee. I know that's a lot, but basically what this amounts to is it's a committee that is set up to help advise in regards to forestry products, in regards to carbon sequestration, but it also adds, for the first time, it adds forestry products to that list of things that is available for carbon sequestration purposes. So in other words, timber, if you use wood products in the building of a structure, that can now be used in regards to allowing carbon credits to be bought on the market, which is another advantage to adding that to the timber industry and the forestry industry in our state, to allow them to participate in that carbon market a little bit more, and it just kind of builds on what we're doing in ensuring that the timber industry continues to be successful. As many of you probably know, Georgia is the #1 forestry state in the country. We're significant in the forestry world in the nation, and continuing to build on that is important. Obviously, broadband continues to be a significant discussion, and we're continuing to push those efforts in regards to broadband across the state. Broadband's important in the ag industry and the conservation industry and everywhere in between, especially in rural Georgia. And we need to continue to ensure that we're pushing that out, and we're continuing to work on that. I know a lot of our EMCs across the state and EMCs in our area down here in South Georgia have began rolling out their initiatives and rolling out their broadband investments. And I think that's going to be significantly important as we go forward. Couple other things we did this past session. I had a bill in regards to soil amendments, and soil amendments are products that are applied or injected into the soil and can be done so in a nutrient management type way to help you better the soil, but it's also a way to get rid of some things that needs to be gotten rid of at the same time. And so it's kind of a partnership between the Department of Agriculture and the producers, as well as those companies that are in our state that are applying the soil amendments. And it gives those farmers that option. But we made some adjustments in regards to that. The biggest thing I think that's important in regards to this conversation, in regards to soil amendments and where all of this come from some citizens being having some concerns about it, is the way we address this was from the standpoint of ensuring that whatever process we laid out was something that would be beneficial and was something that we would be okay with in regards to looking at it from the lens of whether it's pesticide use or herbicide use or fertilizer use. Because at the end of the day, anything that we set up or establish or codify in state law is something that could be used as a precedent going forward. And so we wanted to ensure that we done it right. I think that was the reason this bill, the sole amendment legislation that we worked on, was so important this past session, ensuring that we're able to get the right things in the right place and putting the right process in place and making that happen. And I think we've been able to do that. One thing that's going to be on the ballot this next year, for everybody to know, we did some cleanup in regards to the ad valorem taxation code. Representative Sam Watson carried this bill. Chairman Watson did, and it's a piece of legislation that basically under current law, there's a loophole. So if myself and another farmer decided to go in together and, let's just say, purchase a cotton picker or any other piece of equipment, you name it, or we're in a dairy and we go in together to purchase and split the cost of a milking parlor. There's a variety of examples we can use, but because we're going in a partnership together to purchase a single piece of equipment, there was a loophole that was found that allowed local governments to tax that property or that piece of equipment. And so but if I bought that as a single individual farmer, it would not be able to be taxed. So what we did is we changed the law to clarify that partnerships also were subject to the ad valorem tax code under the law. And because of the change that it requires an amendment, a change to the Constitution. And so you'll get the vote on that next November. It'll be on the ballot. So I just want to encourage everybody to keep that in mind as you go forward and keep that on your radar. There's a lot of things coming up. Redistricting is probably the biggest thing that's about to happen here in Georgia. I think redistricting is significantly important for our state from a multitude of standpoints. I think one of the biggest issues in regards to redistricting is the power shift from more rural areas of our state to the more urban areas of our state. And I think that's something we have got to continue to focus on and ensuring that we continue to have some good folks in the right place to make sure that rural Georgia and has a seat at the table when a lot of these decisions are made, regardless of what the topic may be, but especially in regards to agriculture and natural resources. And so that's going to kind of all that'll shake out in November. But look, I think, we live in a great state. We live in a great place. We're still the number one state to do business, but you can't be the number one state to do business if the number one industry in the state isn't successful. And so I think that's the reason there's a lot of push on ensuring that rural Georgia is successful by the General Assembly. And we've got to continue that focus going forward. And I'm just pleased to serve in the General Assembly and serve as the chairman of the committee, and look forward to our continued partnerships going forward. I know I dumped a lot on y'all in a few minutes, but and there's obviously a lot more that we could talk about, but I don't want to just bore you with a lot of information. Obviously be love to answer any questions that anybody may have, but I appreciate our partnerships. I appreciate our work together, and I look forward to that continued partnership going forward and ensuring that we're passing the right legislation and moving the right kind of policies forward for this state to ensure that agriculture and natural resources continue to be successful. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for that partnership. Mark, good to be with y'all this morning. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, Senator. Thank you. Appreciate your time and a lot of good information for us. And as you know, I mean, GACD and our local districts, we're those boots on the ground out here in the world. And so what goes on, under the Gold Dome, particularly with your committee, is of great interest to us, and we appreciate the update on some pretty important things. And I think more than anything, we appreciate that open door that we have with you and
yes, sir,
up there. So appreciate the fact that we can bend your ear when we need to, and we stand ready to help in any way that we can to get the word out on
yes,
things.
Sir.
Appreciate you being here this morning.
Yes, sir. Glad to be with y'all. Thank you.
Take care. All right, going to turn it over now to our GACD Executive Director, Katie Sponberger. She's going to give us an update on some of the things that are going on at a state level and also specific to Group 4 within GACD. So, Katie, turn it over to you.
Alrighty, thanks, Mark. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for our Group 4 training. I hope to be able to see all of y'all in person again soon. But I am Katie Sponberger, and I serve as the Executive Director for the Georgia Association of Conservation Districts. And I want to start my presentation today with an introduction of the GACD staff that serves Group 4 and all of the other conservation districts throughout the state. So here's myself, Katie Sponberger. I'm the Executive Director, so I manage the daily operations of the association. I work closely with the GACD board and the staff to execute all of our various projects and initiatives. Next, we have Maddie Barnes. Maddie is GACD's project coordinator, and she works with GACD's policy efforts and events, and she also leads our Friend of Conservation Annual Fund. And in addition, she assists with the execution of statewide GACD programs. And this is Irony Payne. Irony leads GACD's pollinator initiative. So I'm sure a lot of y'all have worked with Irony as you've installed your pollinator garden. And so she leads that as well as our pollinator habitat initiative. And lastly, this is Earl Brantley. Earl manages GACD's Cooperative Agreement Program, or County Agreement Program, as it's most commonly known as. But through this program, Earl assists NRCS offices throughout the state by providing them with additional staff through agreements with local government and conservation entities. And if y'all ever have any questions, please reach out to any GACD staff member and we will be happy to assist you. And we all look forward to serving all of your districts throughout Group 4. So now I'll be discussing some different GACD programs that conservation districts in Group 4 are involved in. So today I'll be discussing GACD's feral swine control and outreach and our pollinator initiative. And we do have some additional programs located in other areas of the state. I won't be talking about those today since they're not in your area, but we do have all that information on our website if you're interested. So feral swine are a serious threat to Georgia's natural resources and agricultural crops. And one of the ways GACD is working to assist with this issue is by providing funding to conservation districts across the state so they can purchase trapping equipment and start a local feral swine control program. So right now we have 12 conservation districts throughout the state that are operating their own control program. You can see from the map here to your left, the areas in pink show the conservation districts who are currently operating a program. And districts are covering a substantial area of the state and are showing a significant impact with their efforts. And our feral swine control program is led by Tom Mims. Tom is the chair of GACD's Feral Swine Committee, and he is also a district supervisor for the Briar Creek Soil and Water Conservation District, which is up in the Augusta area. So we do thank him for his leadership and efforts in this program throughout the state. So right now, we currently have 3 conservation districts in Group 4 that are operating a feral swine control program. Those will be Alapaha, Ogeechee River, and Ohoopee River. So far this year through August, conservation districts statewide have eliminated almost 6,500 hogs and saved property owners almost $2 million from damage to their property and agricultural crops. And in addition to our control efforts, GACD has partnered with the University of Georgia, the Georgia Department of Agriculture, the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, and the United States Department of Agriculture to conduct feral swine control outreach throughout the state. These workshops are free for attendees, and participants learn all about hog biology, transportation issues, state regulations, and we also offer a live trapping demonstration. We've been doing these workshops for the past 4 years, and we do partner with conservation districts to put these on, and we have held several workshops in your area over the past few years, and we look forward to hopefully hosting some more of those with y'all soon. So now I'll be discussing Group 4's involvement in GACD's pollinator initiative. And GACD and all of the conservation districts in Group 4 have partnered to install 10 pollinator gardens at local schools and community centers in your area. And through this initiative, GACD has provided conservation districts with raised bed kits, soil, seeds, and signage to implement this project. And these pollinator gardens serve as a learning opportunity for students and adults to learn about pollinators' role in agricultural production through educational lessons that we have also provided to be used in conjunction with the gardens. And in addition, GACD and conservation districts in Group 4 have partnered to perform site preparation for 2 larger pollinator habitat spaces in Group 4. So for the habitat gardens, we are using a smothering technique to prep the soil, and GACD has provided the conservation district with the black plastic that they installed on the property this past spring. And they leave the plastic on for a full year, and then next spring they'll remove the plastic and plant the pollinator seeds. So our Group 4 districts that are participating in our pollinator habitat program are Satilla River and Central Georgia conservation districts. In addition, GACD is also working with the Georgia Department of Transportation to install pollinator habitats and educational exhibits at welcome centers located in your area. And these welcome centers are located on the interstate corridors leading into the state. They have a lot of foot traffic there and provide a great learning opportunity to promote our state's pollinators. And Irony Payne, who is our pollinator coordinator, she has been coordinating a lot of outreach throughout the state. And so she's actually developed an educational curriculum for teachers to use in conjunction with their GACD Conservation District Pollinator Garden. And she is also working with monarchs across Georgia to hold a class for teachers where they will learn how to implement pollinator education into their agriculture curriculum. And there will be one of these free pollinators in ag education workshops in your area on coming up soon. So if you have questions about that, you can contact Irony. Also, if you have any questions about your district's pollinator garden relating to maintenance or anything like that, you can contact her as well for all those questions. And her email address is here on your screen. And if you are interested in providing support directly to any of these programs you just heard about, we invite your district to become a friend of conservation. And all donations through GACD's Friend of Conservation program go directly to support these programs and GACD training events. And we do have more information about that on our website. So now I'm excited to give you all a recap of the 2021 Natural Resources Conservation Workshop. So for those of you who aren't familiar with NRCW, it is a week-long camp that takes place every summer at ABAC, Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College in Tifton, Georgia. And this year was the workshop's 60th year. High school students from Georgia have the opportunity to learn about the importance of natural resources and take field trips where they learn how to shoot skeet, they learn about archery. They also have the opportunity to fish, and they learn about different conservation objectives like prescribed burning and different career paths they can take in the natural resources conservation field. And in addition, they have the opportunity to receive valuable college scholarships provided by many of our partner agencies. And GACD is always very involved in this workshop every year. We are very hands-on with the management and execution of the event. And conservation districts are always excited to be involved as well. They will sponsor the registration fees of all the students that attend the workshop. And this year, Group 4 sent a total of 10 students to the Natural Resources Conservation Workshop. Alapaha sent 3 students, Altamaha sent 1 student, Coastal sent 1 student, Central Georgia sent 1 student, Ogeechee River sent 2 students, and Satilla River sent 2 students. And in addition, many conservation districts also provide scholarships to their local students who attend camp. And this year, Altamaha Conservation District provided 4 $1,000 scholarships. And their first recipient was Neri Gonzalez from Douglas, Georgia, and he's a student at Coffee County High School. And their second recipient was Kira Law from Athens, Georgia, who is a 10th grader at Cedar Shoals High School. And their third scholarship went to Kaylin Leonard from Lake Park, Georgia, who's an 11th grader at Eccles County High School. And their last scholarship went to Emily Nesbitt from Sharpsburg, Georgia, who is a 12th grader at Northgate High School. Coastal Conservation District provided an $800 scholarship to Savannah Hall, an 11th grader at Bryan County High School. Alapaha Conservation District provided a $500 scholarship to Carly Walford, a 12th grader at Lanier County High School. And we want to thank all the conservation districts who sponsor students and provided these scholarships. We always appreciate your continued support of the Natural Resources Conservation Workshop. And GACD partners with conservation districts every year to offer a $6,500 scholarship to the highest scoring individual at camp. And since the workshop was canceled last year, we were able to offer 2 scholarships this year. And both the recipients were actually from Group 1. Mallory Martin was from Carroll County and Luca Antonazzi from DeKalb County. And these scholarships can be used at any college in the state of Georgia. And both the recipients were so excited and so appreciative to receive this honor. So the GACD board and staff would like to thank all the conservation districts in Group 4 for your contributions towards this scholarship through an extra donation in your GACD dues. So thank you. And the GACD board and staff and the board and staff of the Georgia Soil and Water Conservation Commission were able to have a meet and greet this year on campus at ABAC during the workshop. So all the board members were excited to be able to see the workshop in action and meet participating students. So thank you to all who attended this event. And if you all have any questions about GACD or any of the information that was just presented, you can contact us at our information here on your screen, and be sure to give us a like on Facebook if you're on there. And that's all I have, Mark.
Yeah, Katie, thanks a lot. Really a lot of good stuff going on. Certainly at the state level, but I think Group 4, I mean, they deserve a pretty big shout out for all the stuff they've got going on, and in particular that the conservation workshop stuff. You guys are really leaders in terms of getting scholarships together, not just for your local folks, but also contributing to those 2 state scholarships. That's a really big deal for these students. So very much appreciate that, and it was good to have both boards of GACD and the commission together to see some of those young folks and talk with them, and pretty encouraging. So thank you all for supporting that effort and everything you do. So at this time, I'm happy to turn the agenda over to our GACD Vice President, Tabatha Wooten. I've got to know Tabatha quite well over the last year or so working on the board, and she brings an awful lot of good experience and knowledge to the board, and we appreciate everything she does and representing Group 4 as well as she does. So Tabatha, will turn over to you to manage the elections and other group business. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mark. Again, I'm Tabatha Wooten. I serve in Omaha District as a district supervisor, and have been honored this year to serve as the GACD Vice President. And again, I would just, like everyone else that has spoken, I want to thank everybody who has participated today, all of our speakers, our partners, everybody who shared. It takes all of us working together to make the wheels turn, and I just appreciate everybody being here. At this time, I'm going to introduce Lynn Johnson. He's with Hoopie River Conservation District, and he is their district chair. He also serves as the nominations committee chair for Group 4. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Johnson to see if you have some nominations for us.
Good morning, Tabatha, and everyone else that's listening. We have the following nomination for Group 4 Vice President. That's Jim Waters from the Satilla River District.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Are there any additional nominations from the group, from the floor? I'll give some time to, if anyone has any nominations, just unmute yourself and make your nomination.
Tabatha, I move the nominations be closed. This is Danny.
Thank you, Danny. I've heard a nomination to close the nominations for Mr. Hogan. Is there a second? We need a second to close the nominations.
I'm not sure if it's allowed, but I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. Johnson has seconded. If there are no other nominations, we'll declare Jim Waters elected by acclamation as GACD Group 4 Vice President. Now we'll hear nominations for Group 4 Alternate Vice President.
We have the following nomination for Group 4 Alternate Vice President. That'll be Chris Hopkins from the Ohoopee River District.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Are there any additional nominations from the group? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a motion to close the nominations.
I'll make that motion, Tabatha.
Thank you, Mr. Danny. I have a motion from Mr. Danny Hogan to close the nominations. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. John. We have a second from Mr. John Hoagie to close the nominations. Having no other nominations, Chris Hopkins is elected by acclamation as GACD Group 4 Vice President. Congratulations to you both. We look forward to working with you. At this time, Mark, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Tabatha. I appreciate that. And congratulations to Jim and Chris. I know that Chris, as we mentioned, wasn't able to be with us this morning. So, and y'all do keep Chris and his family in your thoughts and prayers with the loss of his dad. But appreciate those two stepping up, and look forward to serving with them in the near future. So we're right on time with our agenda. Appreciate everyone being on and for the support that you all provide for conservation, just not in your local districts, but also region and statewide. I very much appreciate that. The one thing I was remiss in doing early on that I feel sort of compelled to do is give Michelle Boone a shout out. She was obviously with JCD for many years and did a lot of good stuff for this group. And she's as I think Robert had mentioned, kind of transitioned over to the commission, and so still look forward to working with her going forward, just in a different capacity. But she did a lot to get this meeting pulled together, and a lot for JCD over the years. So Michelle, I saw your name on, but appreciate all you've done, and look forward to working with you. So with that, yes.
Could I make one comment, please? This is Lynn Johnson. I just wanted to thank Jerry Holcomb for the years of his service as our vice president. He's done an outstanding job. I hate to see him leave the position, and I know Jerry will continue to be working and helping everywhere he can. But I just didn't want to leave without thanking him, and also for Tabatha. She stepped up a couple of 3 years ago and continues to move up. And we're just pleased with the leadership that both of them provided for us.
Amen.
Absolutely. Yeah, we weren't going to adjourn without that as well, but I appreciate you bringing that up. No doubt, Mr. Jerry, I know you're listening, and appreciate all you've done for your local district and GACD over the years. It certainly is certainly noticed and appreciated. Look forward to you sticking around. We're not going to let you off the hook for sure. So, any other comments from anyone? All right. Well, with that, we're right on time, and that's always good. Appreciate everybody being on this morning, and look forward to seeing you soon. Meeting is adjourned. Take care.
Thank you, Mark.